Bambu Lab may have just given the open source community the exact legal argument they needed to force their cloud plugin to become open source permanently. And I don't know why nobody else is talking about this, because the more I looked into it, the more I kept thinking, am I missing something here? I've been digging into this for several days now. I reached out to Bambu Lab directly. I had a few emails with Louis Rossman, and I even had AI do a deep dive, but I kept landing in the same place. So let's go over this together and I'll show you what I found and you tell me what you think. Maybe I'm wrong. Back in January 2025, Bambu Lab pushed a firmware update that quietly removed something you already had. If you owned a Bambu printer and used Orca Slicer, which, let's be honest, a massive portion of this community does, you lost the ability to send print jobs directly from Orca Slicer to your printer. And Bambu's solution was a new standalone middleware app called Bambu Connect. Every print job now had to route through it. Orca Slicer's developers looked at that two-app workflow and said no way. And honestly, I don't blame them. You shouldn't have to use a second plugin to use software that honestly worked perfectly fine. So users were stuck with this choice that never should have existed. Stay on outdated firmware forever or update and lose Orca Slicer functionality you already paid for on the day you bought your printer. Then one developer decided he wasn't accepting either option. A Polish developer named Paweł built a fork of Orca Slicer called Orca Slicer Bambu. It did one thing. It gave you back what the firmware update took. Direct cloud printing from Orca Slicer to your Bambu printer. No Bambu plugin required. The community loved it, it spread fast on GitHub, and shortly after, it gained real traction until Bambu's attorneys showed up. Then Paweł received a demand from Bambu Lab, threatening basically to send him a cease and desist. He was accused of reverse engineering their software, impersonating Bambu Studio, violating terms of service, and circumventing their authorization controls. After Paweł shut the project down, he posted a statement on GitHub refuting that he ever used anything but Bambu's own open source code to gain access to their cloud plugin. And then there's what Bambu Lab told me directly. I reached out to them and they responded. They were clear. They believed Paweł used nefarious means to access their cloud infrastructure, that this wasn't a legitimate use of public code. And Paweł says the exact opposite, that everything he used was sitting right there in Bambu's own published source, available to anyone. So that's the two sides of the story. And honestly, I don't know who's telling the truth. Bambu has a lot to lose here, while Paweł was just trying to make something cool for people to use, which is why his comment on GitHub left me unsure what to believe. To me, it sounded like he may have been bragging about getting into Bambu software, but if he used their own code, it wouldn't have been anything to really celebrate. To me, it sounded like he was surprised that he gained access. So honestly, I don't know what to believe, but luckily it doesn't even matter, because there's something sitting underneath all of this that changes the entire conversation. And I haven't heard anyone else talk about it yet. To understand it, you need a quick look at how this software is actually built. So Bambu Studio, Bambu's own slicer, is licensed under something called AGPL 3.0. That's the GNU Affero General Public License. It's one of the most powerful copyleft licenses there is. Orca Slicer is a fork of Bambu Studio, and Bambu Studio itself is a fork of Prusa Slicer, and Prusa Slicer is a fork of Slicer. And yeah, it's all open source. Every line of code at the core of this entire ecosystem traces back to open source. And that AGPL license travels with every fork, every derivative, every line that descends from it. Now here's where Bambu Lab, I think, has a serious problem. The AGPL doesn't just govern the code that you can see. It governs anything that's tightly coupled to it. Anything built specifically to interface with it, depend on it, or control how it functions over a network. And that's exactly what the Bambu plugin is. It wasn't built to stand alone. It has one job: to sit between their AGPL licensed slicer and their cloud and control what you're allowed to do with the software that's already on your machine. That is a direct intentional coupling to AGPL licensed code. And the license says you can't build a proprietary closed source layer that controls access to an open source software and keep that layer hidden. The A in AGPL was specifically added to close loopholes around network-based software to prevent exactly this scenario. A company can't benefit from open source code while locking down the network functionality it depends on. So when Bambu Lab sent that legal threat, they may have unknowingly pointed a spotlight directly at their own potential license violation. And Joseph Prusa himself said it publicly. He accused Bambu Lab of violating the AGPL license of Prusa Slicer dating all the way back to the original Bambu Studio fork, because the one component that remains closed is the exact network plugin that connects their printers to the cloud. And honestly, that's not a small footnote, that's the entire argument. And this isn't just a theory that I'm asking you to take my word on. I've done some research. I could still be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure that the Free Software Foundation, the Software Freedom Conservancy, the FSFE, and the Electronic Frontier Foundation all have legal standing to bring AGPL enforcement actions. None of them have moved yet, but this story has visibility now, and that silence, I don't think it's going to last forever. And Bambu's own real counter argument is basically to draw a line between their plugin and the slicer itself, to argue that their network plugin talks to their servers, not Studio directly, and that the coupling isn't tight enough for the AGPL to reach it. And they can make that argument, but honestly, I think it's a weak one. The plugin only exists because of Studio. It was built around Bambu Studio. It controls Bambu Studio in a way. A court looking at that relationship through an AGPL lens is honestly not going to find a clean separation, in my opinion. Now, I got to say this because honestly, with all this going on, it's been on my mind. I was honestly just starting to enjoy the Bambu H2C that they sent me. Great machine. But after everything I've found doing this research, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be moving my personal machines over to Prusa. And here's why it's not just about the Orca Slicer situation. Joseph Prusa posted on X pointing to something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough in this space. Under Article 7 of China's National Intelligence Law, every organization and citizen in China is legally required to, and I'm paraphrasing here, support, assist, and cooperate with national intelligence efforts. That's not a conspiracy theory, that's their actual law. And Bambu Lab is a Chinese company. Their servers hold your printer data, your network credentials, information about what you're printing and when. And under Chinese law, if the government asks for that data, there's no legal mechanism that allows them to say no. And just like Joseph Prusa said himself, it's quite scary where the 3D printing industry is going when it comes to your data. And honestly, that's enough for me. I'm not comfortable having those machines connected to my network long term. Not because I think Bambu Lab is actively doing something malicious today, which who knows, they may, but because the legal framework around them means I have no guarantee they couldn't be compelled to tomorrow. And honestly, that's a risk I'm not willing to take with some of my customers' IP. Where these big printer companies want that data, they want access to that IP. That stuff that these big companies are printing on their printers, prototypes for the very first time and new ideas that no one's seen yet, they can see that stuff be printed. Where do you think all those ideas start? Most of them start on a 3D printer. Now, if you're printing Sleeky Dragons, it doesn't even matter. But if you're prototyping this new tool that you don't have a patent on yet and you want to protect it, running it through a printer that dumps data out like that, then, I mean, that's not a real smart move. But either way, here's the bottom line. You bought your printer, you own that hardware. The functionality you had on the day you purchased it, the ability to use a third-party slicer and send a print job directly to your machine, it was removed by a firmware update that you didn't ask for. And then it was restored by a developer working in his free time and then killed again by a legal threat from a billion-dollar company. And in going after that developer, Bambu Lab may have just handed the open source community the exact legal weapon needed to force their entire cloud plugin into the open source permanently. And I have a feeling they think that they probably won this round, but if the AGPL argument gets picked up by any of the organizations with standing to enforce it, they may have started a fight that they're not going to be able to win. So that's all I have for you. That's my thoughts on it. Am I missing something? You tell me. I mean, that's how I see it. Let me know in the comments. See you in the next one.